Hey guys, welcome back to the Bad Millennial Podcast. It's your host, Liz, and I'm sorry it's been a minute since we last talked. I have just been a little bit too involved and swept up with the scandal of it all. If you know, you know. But also everyone should know at this point, since Scandival has been literally taken over media by storm. I mean, even the New York Times reported about it. You know, the last form of news where we still have to pay to get your news. So I figure I won't talk about that until I'm actually caught up with all the seasons. I'm stuck in season 7, and that's been an interesting journey already. But I am back, I am focused, and I am ready to get into more of the cool ideas I have for this podcast. So I was checking out the last episode that I released on the podcast, and I had also posted a poll, a Spotify exclusive poll that asked, what do you want to hear in the next episodes? What topics should I cover in the next few episodes? And the top 2 that I voted for were working 9 to 5 and dating and relationships. The winner being working 9 to 5. So with all of my several years of experience in the corporate working world, I figured I'd share some advice, tips, and, my experience with you guys on work life. Work life has changed dramatically since I first entered the workforce. I know that when I started out, I thought that having a degree from college would immediately land me into my dream job just because they know how serious I was about what I studied and all the good grades and my GPA, blah, blah, blah. Turns out real life doesn't just hand you prizes. I had to get in the field and trudge my way through internships, through fellowships, to gig jobs that really had nothing to do with what I wanted to ultimately become. A lot of us out there think that just because we have a college degree and spent 4 years basically having fun in our little bubble, that when we get into the real world, that everything's going to be easy and come our way. I had to actually prove myself and learn that there were even more skills that I had to gain in my field, in my social skills. Even my portfolio was very light and didn't show off a full, well-rounded version of what I could and wanted to do. Learning that a degree doesn't automatically get you a job was a tough one, but a humbling experience because it made me actually roll up my sleeves and just prepare to really work hard. I started off doing a lot of freelance writing. My college degree was in journalism, emphasis in magazine writing, with a minor in political science. And I had envisioned myself as being a journalist, primarily in politics. That landed me in a couple of internships, a lot of freelancing gigs, which helped me broaden my writing skills and give me a better range. It also helped me with my soft skills, so my communication skills, my people skills, pitching myself as well as my work ethic to people who didn't know me was something that you really have to learn on the field. I finally was able to work in marketing, and I found out that I really loved the creative side of marketing. I have been able to be creative as well as get paid for something that I love to do. In addition to my job, I also started my own little passion project early on, which was my Bookstagram. Now, of course, this came with the pandemic, but I have loved to read since I was a child. I was definitely the kid who was staying up past their bedtime, lights off, but hid in my closet with a flashlight and was reading my hardcovers and annotating and dog-earing and having the whole book finished by the crack of dawn. I was obsessed. And I still have a lot of those childhood obsessions today. Being able to share my passions on my Bookstagram, which, shameless plug, it is at another reader account on Instagram. I have found a community of like-minded individuals and friends who love to talk about books and all of the quirks. I have finally gotten out of my 20s and hit my 30s. I feel like I am kind of comfortable and set in my career path. That's not to say that it didn't come without challenges. I didn't just start off in my dream job. I didn't start off doing what I love to do. One of the gig jobs I had was actually just inputting data for prescriptions. I also learned how to chat with people over the phone and get along with my coworkers who came from totally different backgrounds. I've also been laid off twice in my entire career. Go me, because I survived it. First time was because they decided to axe our whole department, just why have an internal marketing and communications team when you can just get people from the outside for much cheaper and not have to deal with them in person. So I had to learn how to be resilient and also figure out what unemployment was. And the second time was actually pretty recently. In January, I was laid off due to a reduction in force, which seemed to be kind of the norm of a lot of big tech companies, just slashing jobs left and right. Thankfully, I'd learned that savings are paramount and key to survival, especially if you're like me, who lives by themselves all the way out in lovely, sunny, but expensive California. Honestly, working has been a journey, but it's really nice to see all those pieces fall together from everything that I've learned to now. Not to say that I'm a wizened old millennial. I'm not. I'm just newly 30, guys. Like, it's hasn't even been a full month yet. I really appreciate all of the experiences and challenges and struggles that I've been through to help me be where I am today. So to my fellow bad millennials, hopefully that was enlightening or at least encouraging or interesting for you to hear. I really enjoy kind of, sharing my experiences, especially if it helps someone else. And with that will lead me to the Q&A section of this episode. I found a lot of really good questions about careers, job hunting, and the like that I really wanted to share with you guys. Okay, so first question. Are there any tips on how to choose a good paying career when you don't know what to do in life? So, answer for you. So, for me, I kind of think that you should go far back into your childhood and try to remember what made you feel alive back then. You know how everyone always asked us, oh, well, what are you going to do when you grow up? Remember what made you feel excited. What was your passion? And what made you happy to wake up in the morning? Burning out is something that comes with almost every job, but at least you would want to go into a job that kind of makes you excited to be there and makes you really hungry for the work. Of course, we don't get our passion job or career right away, as you guys have heard with my story, but at least you can work towards that. For me, I picked up a lot of gigs. Like, I worked at Target, I did a lot of contract work, but on the side, I was still freelance writing and honing my skills and making sure that I didn't let that passion die. So definitely tap into your inner child and figure out what was it that you love to do and make it happen. And of course, pick up some paychecks and save them along the way. I beg of you, please. Nothing in this life is certain, and that includes your job. So whatever money you do make from your job or passion project, just save it up, invest it for sure. Because, we're all going to grow old someday and we're going to need some money to fall back on. Don't know if Social Security is going to still be around by the time we're all old, but you never know. So yeah, definitely save. Okay, next question. How do I stay motivated during the job hunt? Well, money, right? Like, not in the sense of, oh, I want to get a lot of money, but you do have to support yourself. Unfortunately, money makes the world go round, so you also need to be able to take care of yourself, provide for yourself. Also, live life and do things that you want to do, and that stuff doesn't come cheap. Know that good things come with time. I know that the job hunt can be long, can be scary. I mean, I've been unemployed twice, so I know that it's not fun to always just be waiting around for the next great thing. But while you're waiting, take classes, whether they're fun ones like dancing or swim classes, or professional ones like taking a free class at Khan Academy and learning new skills. learning what you think that you can carry on to your next job in your career. Spruce up your resume. Make sure your LinkedIn profile is filled out. Make sure your portfolio shows what kind of cool stuff that you can offer to the next employer. Or even start your own little passion project. Make your own little bookstagram or podcast. I don't know. I'm pretty much loving what I'm doing on the side here. But yeah, don't just sit around and become despondent just because you're not immediately getting the jobs that you're applying to. Keep going. Kind of think of it as an unexpected vacation. All right. Another question, how to negotiate pay. So one thing I learned in the job hunt is never give your number away first. If they ask you, how much do you want to get paid? Ask them, turn the question back to them. Well, what is the range or what is the salary range for this role? Because they have a number. If you give out a number first, 9 times out of 10 are going to sell yourself short. So hear them out, hear what they're prepared to offer you, and take that into consideration. I mean, I'd also recommend, just for your own peace of mind, to calculate your own living expenses and see what kind of pay makes sense for you. How will you be able to support your lifestyle? Are you going to be comfortable with that number if you don't get a raise in like the first 6 months to a year? I would definitely keep those things in mind. With a lot of legislation that's passing right now too, a lot of jobs have to reveal what they're paying for certain roles. So LinkedIn is kind of like a little wonderland right now. So make sure that whatever occupation you're searching for, that you look up what people are paying for that role in your area, because it's out there. The numbers are out there. You don't want to be paid less. And well, there's no such thing as being paid too much, of course. Like, sky's the limit. But make sure you're getting paid fairly. If the offer is not the going rate that the average person is getting, or it's something that you're not comfortable with taking, then don't take it. There's plenty of more jobs out there. You just have to be diligent and resilient. Never stop advocating for what you're worth. And finally, how different has work from home been versus in person or hybrid? How do you prepare to be in a job where you're mostly working from home? And I've had experience with both of these things. Of course, all my jobs before the pandemic were in person. Switching to a fully remote lifestyle was interesting. My number one piece of advice would be to make sure you have that space that's only for work. Whether it's a corner of your room or a separate room altogether, make sure you have a dedicated space where you can focus, you can be tuned into your work, and there are limited to no distractions in the area. You want to be able to have that same comfortable space that you had back when you were in the office in your cubicle. And I highly recommend against working in bed. I know it's super comfortable, but you're still just not going to be in that professional mindset. Same thing with wearing pajamas all day. You're comfy. You're not going to want to be bothered. So get up, make your bed, drink the coffee, put on the professional outfit. And yes, that includes bottoms, okay? And get to work. Another thing I would add is to make sure you set boundaries for yourself, because being online, it makes it feel like you are always available. And technically you are. I mean, we even have Slack on our phones now, so we can be reached whenever at any time. But that's not healthy. We all need break time. So I highly recommend incorporating breaks into your day, actually filling up your calendar with times that you're going to force yourself to take a break, get up, stand, get outside, breathe fresh air, touch grass, feel the sun, because we are human beings. We are not computers. We cannot work when our glasses are half empty. So definitely take that time to either meditate, do some deep breathing, go eat, walk around the block, walk your dog. Your dog can't just sleep in all day. No matter how cute they are, they also need some stimulation too. So take care of yourself and your mental health, and that includes taking a lot of breaks. Make sure you try to stay connected to people. Take a minute to set up a coffee chat via Zoom, and just talk to each other. And it doesn't have to be about work. Have a no work zone and just really get to know the people that you're working with and who's on the other side of the screen. There is something to be said about working in an office where you're able to just see everyone and walk by and say hey or strike up a random conversation. So still work on building those connections, because that is really important as well. And also I find that just slacking each other or sending messages, we kind of read it in our own voice, but until we get to know the person on the other side and their personality, we won't really understand their full intention. And I feel like there's going to be a little communication left out if we don't know who the person is. So definitely take time to connect. And if you're lucky enough to be able to connect with people outside of the office, go for that. Do happy hours or mini golf. Just connect, because again, we are human beings and we are not set up like computers. We do need to socialize and see other people. Those will be my top tips for working from home, being remote. Don't be a robot, be a human, and have fun with it. All right, guys, that's going to wrap up this episode of the Bad Millennial Podcast. I'm your host, Liz. It's been really good getting back to the mic and talking with you all. I really love connecting with you guys. All that boomer advice we got from our parents and teachers is ancient history. This is millennial reality, and I'm so glad to connect and share it with you guys. Thanks for tuning in to this week's episode of Bad Millennial. If you like this episode, make sure to leave a rating and a review and subscribe so you never miss an episode. You can also support this podcast by giving a donation via Spotify. Head to the link in the show notes to give. Thank you so much for supporting the making of this podcast. Got a question you want me to answer in the future? Leave a voice message on Spotify, DM, and follow me at Bad Millennial Pod on Instagram, and tweet me on Twitter at _Bad Millennial_ for even more relatable millennial content.